can actually see tab, change mode. This is basically the screen. I'm pressing tab. There's some goblins nearby though. I think that what that means. The nearest settlement will get marked, so goblins. That's kind of bad. I prefer to have some friendly dwarfs, because you can trade, they can come by, they can just decide to start raiding you, and all kinds of stuff can happen. So let's see. The relative elevation of the local area. It's not very high. I'm now in a cliff indicator, which you can see here. It's basically showing that all this has basically an elevation of 1, which isn't really great. You kind of want to have like 3 or 4, 5 even. Be kind of in the middle there. That would be kind of nice, but hell, I'm not going to be fussy and just keep redoing it. Let me just have a quick look though. I kind of want to have the river in the middle, I think, and I prefer to have some wood around. That's not really working. I think I'll go for this. I've got some bits of 2 elevation, and I've got the river, so I'm just going to I'm going to settle with this. So I'm going to press E, embark. Are you sure you want to embark? Yeah, I'm sure. So now it gives you the option to just play now, or you can prepare for the journey carefully. Well, I'm just going to basically do a small tutorial on that, as I only really know the really basic beginning of the game, which I also got off another video tutorial on YouTube. It's done by Captnduck. It's a Dutch guy, and you can kind of hear it, especially since I'm Dutch as well. So, but yeah, he's done a really nice video tutorial so far, and I've basically learned from him as well. But I'll just quickly run through. You can see here is the list of our dwarfs, which are just peasants. They have no skills at the moment, which we're going to do something about. So I'm not going to try and pronounce those names, not at all. I'd be nuts to try it. So basically I can use my numpad. This game uses a lot of numpad. Yeah, I'm just going to press right on the numpad, and I'll end up in this list, which is basically some things that guy can learn. You can see he's actually selected now. He's basically highlighted, and I can now say with the plus and minus keys, I can tell him to be a good miner, proficient miner, with 10 points of skills, which should be very good. Now I'll just go back with the numpad and go into the next dude, and I'm going to tell him to be a miner as well, because we're dwarves. We want to dig into the wall, or the mountain. Even though there isn't much of a mountain where we are, but you get what I mean. So let's go back. We also want a woodcutter. I'm just moving around with the numpad keys. That's something you're going to have to get used to very quickly if you're actually going to try the game. On that note, it's actually a freeware game. It's free to download. It's compatible for Windows system. There's a Mac version, and recently there's been a Linux version, which I'm currently just yeah, it runs on my Ubuntu without problem, and I'm not very advanced on any Linux, and I got it to run. So yeah, that should be no problem at all for anyone. Where was I though? I've basically assigned 2 miners and a woodcutter. So let's also get a carpenter to actually make something out of the wood we are going to gather. And let's also get a mason, which is going to use the stone and everything we find from the miners that we're going to dig out, because we want to make some stone buildings. Other than that, what else do we need to survive? Yes, we want food. And the food, let me just look. Yeah, you can see there's a whole bunch of professions, which there's a lot to this game. There's an incredible lot, but to start, you don't really want to fish. It may sound interesting, it really may, but the rivers are very dangerous. There's a lot of deadly fish that will actually pull your dwarfs into the river and basically eat them alive, or they may just bleed to death if they manage to escape, or they may lose a limb, which in which case they can recover, but they won't be as efficient at their job, and they might get really emotional and down. And if the dwarves get down enough, and yes they can, they may actually just decide to drop themselves off a cliff or drown themselves, or there's a lot of stuff that can happen in this game. Let's actually get a grower, which is basically we're going to build a farm in our cave, and that's going to supply us with food. Let's actually not press the wrong button there, and get a competent grower for now. And we have one last guy, which I'm never quite sure what I want with it. There's so many jobs you can actually give him, so I'm never quite sure what I actually want. I think I want a brewer, because dwarves really like their beer. And, well, we kind of ran out of points. We started with 200, and we've basically spent a bunch of them. But we're not done yet with preparing, so I'm trying to hurry it up, but I can see I'm already busy for quite a while. Let's actually go tab, because we also are bringing some items. And this is a whole different kind of screen. So basically on the left we again have what we basically got. Instead of dwarfs, we're in the item screen now. And tab, we go back to the dwarf screen as it's indicating, like that. So let's go back to the item screen. We've basically bringing copper picks for the miners. And by default you basically bring 2 battle axes for lumberjacks, but I don't really use 2 lumberjacks, so I'm just pressing the minus button that's basically indicating here. That's a plus and that's a minus to reduce the number, and that basically freed up 300 points, which you can see back here. That's a really good thing, because now we can basically have our farmer dude be better at it, which will mean more food, which is going to be very important since we don't want people to starve. Also, there's by default you can get an iron anvil for 1000 points, which is a lot, I know, but basically if you want to make weapons, make anything out of metal, you will want that iron anvil. Then again, you have to find the iron in the mountain. I've never really found any, so you still want the anvil though. You can basically dig around the entire map if you're underground, so yeah, if you find any kind of metal, you can build a whole bunch of stuff. So what else are we bringing? We're bringing some rum and some wine. Dwarfs again like their booze. We're bringing 40 rum, 20 wine. Well, I guess they'll do for a while. And basically plump helmet. Plump helmet spawn is basically they're kind of cave mushrooms, which you can eat raw. So you don't have to cook them or anything, which is makes for a really good food source in the beginning. So we're only bringing 5, as you can see by the I'm not quite sure why it's basically a t-shirt icon, but let's increase that number just by pressing the plus button. I kind of like having quite a bunch of them, because it's basically seeds for your food, so you basically want that. Another really easy thing to grow would be pigtails. Again, not sure how that works, but I'm not even sure what pigtails are supposed to be. I know pigs, I know tails, but pigtails and growing them on a farm? I'm not sure, but let's get some anyway, because they're easy to grow as well. We're also bringing apparently some mountain goat meat. Well, I don't really care. Some meat is fine. Diversity is always good. And we're bringing some basic plump helmets. Let's increase that number a bit by 25 as well, I think. Yeah, 25 will do. So basically we can now say, well, this isn't all. No, it isn't. We can press N to get a new item on the list. And I think we want to do that. So here, we're in the new item we can bring. And this is basically a whole list of categories. As you can see, the meat fish is selected, and if I press right on a numpad, I can basically scroll through the entire list, just to give you an idea of how many kinds of meat and stuff there is. And there's more than that. There's more than that. Seeds is basically just really simple stuff that you can actually take along. Drinks, really simple again. There's much more in the actual game that you can create yourself and all that. What we're basically wanting is perhaps I kind of like having a bag around. Where was that though? Small cut gems. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of gems that you can obviously mine from the mountain. So I'm taking way too long on this. It's already been 20 minutes. I thought I'd be done in 30, but I'm really slow, I guess. Let's actually see. We're in the trap components. That's not where I wanted to be. Oh god, yeah, there's more categories. I forgot about that. It scrolls. The menu scrolls. So bodywear, headwear. This is basically some leather armor you can basically get for your dwarves. Because there's a lot of fighting in this game. As I said, humans, goblins and all that, they can just decide to invade you. And yeah, it gets really bloody. There's a lot of severed limbs and kids seeing their parents die in front of them. And it's kind of cruel. It's quite a cruel game in that regard. Cages, barrels. Barrels are good for storing your food, so you might actually want to bring one or two in the beginning, because food stored in barrels will not rot as fast, because food does rot, which is, you know, bad. So let's bring a pigtail bag, just to make it simple, and let's bring two of them.